right, all right. It's quite a number of us that are on the call here. So welcome to the training, and we'll start in a minute or so. Yeah, and maybe let's just find out. We're gonna start very quickly, and whilst we are, just getting all the tech in, I just want to make sure that if everyone can hear me. So in the notes there, in the comments, yeah, as you got a comment section there, just drop in if you can hear me. Say, hey, TJ, I can hear you. And that's all I need to hear from you for now, before we start. All right. Okay. Someone says, yeah, it's always morning for TJ, 100%. We can hear you. Great stuff. We can hear me. Awesome. Awesome. Let's get it in. Let's get it in. Before we start, I just want to check with you, where are you watching us from? Where are you tuning us from, right? Stuff, Midrand, all right, good stuff. Durban, in Marshalltown, all right. Wheatbank, okay, from Kimberley, awesome. Centurion, nice, nice. Okay, good morning, good morning. And others are in Belleville. I like Belleville, I like Belleville. Greetings, greetings to you. Isrand, okay. Good morning to you too. Good morning to you too. Let's see the other places here. Free State, how's it going there from Free State? Good having you around. Tabanchu, yes, in Tabanchu. I've been to Tabanchu a couple of times back in the days. Yes, yes. So how's it going? Right, is this all of us here that we have said that where are we dialing in from? I haven't seen others telling us where they're dialing us from. So just tell us where you are dialing us, where you're watching me from. Okay, all right, all right. In Pretoria, whereabouts in Pretoria? Pretoria is quite big. Pretoria is quite big. It's nice, nice. Pietermaritzburg, hoop, hoop. Nosy, welcome. We've never been to Pietermaritzburg as a business, so I'm sure we're going to be having some fun having you around. Good. All right. Are the people still dialing in? Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I'm not so sure how many people we potentially have here. It says around about close to 30 people. Woohoo! I like it. I like it. So I'm just going to start here, and so that we do not, get behind time. And let me just start off by saying that thank you very much for actually coming in and joining us here. And we've got some people also that are saying that they are from Essex in the UK, in England. Welcome. So we have gone international. For as long as we've got one country, we've gone international outside where we are, isn't? And Carlos says, good morning, all of you. Looking forward to an exceptional, insightful. Okay, Carlo, you're putting me under pressure here, brother. You're putting me under pressure. But good stuff. It is good to have you all around. And welcome to today's training. And within this training here, I think we're just going to go all out in terms of, 7 steps on how actually you can, 7 steps of getting started in property investment, right? And this is what I want us to go through today in this presentation. So for some of you that don't know me, hey, how's it going? Welcome aboard. It is ITJ. My full name is Taurai Jack, and we started off M5 Property Addicts a couple of years ago, and we recently started off what is called M5 Property Varsity. So you are in M5 Property Varsity today. So hoop, hoop to you and a high five. So just to get the groundworks out of the works, on here, I'm not alone. I've got a team that is going to be supporting me all the way to the end. So Reta is on here. I think one of our other guys, Marlon, might potentially be able to join us as well. And Genevieve, she is also joining us. She is on our Facebook page. So we've got a full swing of team that are going to be just continuously be helping us here on everything else that we need to be doing. But you are in the right place, and I've heard where you guys are, so thank you very much for responding. So I'm wanting to keep this very interactive as we go along all the way to the end, right? And what we are going to be doing is that as we go along right all the way to the end, people who are going to be participating, people who are going to be asking questions, people who are going to be engaged in the whole session, we are going to give some prizes. We're going to give some prizes. So we're going to give 5 people are going to walk away with free access to the varsity tonight. 5 people are going to walk away with free access to the varsity tonight. And it is all based on participation. So you don't have to do so many things, okay? So I am going to go into the actual crust of the evening so that we can go along into the session, and let's jump along. Right. Like I mentioned, some of you might know me, but for some of you that don't know me, when I started off this game here, you know, I want to speak from a point when I got married. Just before I got married, I actually lost some money. And I think my wife kind of like figured out that this guy here, you know, he's just an entrepreneur at heart. But shortly, like 2 seconds before I was getting married, I lost about 100K, you know, and I lost it into a business transaction. And within that business transaction, basically what happened was that we put some money together, and I'd never been to China before. We gave some money to one guy, and this guy went to China and never came back. And I lost that money, and I was left with a shop. But the journey didn't stop there. I continued, and I went on to lose some more money. And everyone's like thinking, yo, TJ, you're always losing money. But hold on. I lost money in another business, and this time around, I had just become a farmer. And out of that, I realized that, you know, being a farmer is not easy. Putting chickens on the table to become Nando's is not easy. But I tried it out, a whole lot of lessons that I learned in there. But even though when I walked out of there bruised, but I realized that there's lots that one can do actually. But the common trend between these losing of monies that I had in different businesses was pretty simple. I was not educated. That was the only reason. I was not educated in what I was doing. I was just doing it because I loved to do it. I was doing it because I needed a business. But at this point of time when I had actually lost money, I then started seeing property, and I started learning about property. And like just like you, high five, you are here. And within this, that's when I actually started now trying to figure out, hey, what can I do? But I had no resources at that time. And this is why I'm actually wanting to start off by saying, never let your lack of ambitions, never let your lack of resources limit your ambition. Because even though I was down and out, I still made it work. And up until today, some of you already know we've got a business that's called the M5 Property Addicts. And this is the business that we do business all the time. So greetings from my family. That's my beautiful wife there, together with my 2 kids and the cat that my wife owns. So thank you very much, right? And as I am in here, you know, I've had to leave them on the other wing of the house just to make sure that, you know, we can continue in here. All right. Now, last year I had the privilege to become, I was nominated in a community of property investors, and I've become a winner. And I've always said that, you know, I've won this on behalf of M5 Property Addicts, because had it not been for the other people behind me, I don't think that I would have been called up there to become this winner. So I'm not just an active property investor, I'm an active award winner, and over and above that, I've been trying to find out who else is doing property, and that's why we started off what is called M5 Successful Friends. And this is a podcast that is available. You can jump on YouTube and you'll be able to see all the people that we have been interviewing. Every Friday, we release a new video via podcast, and you get to enjoy all of those people. But hey, I also wrote a book, You know, if I'm not doing the family thing, I am doing property. And if I'm not doing property, I am writing books. And my latest book is available on my website or onto our Facebook page. And that book is called From Bad Debt to Property Mogul in 2 years. I'm wondering whether there's 1 or 2 people that have actually read this book that are on here. I don't know. If you have read this book, give me some feedback. What do you think of the book? Eh? What do you think of the book? In the comments there, tell me what you think of the book in 1 or 2 lines as we go along. Right. So there are two ways in which you can make money. There are 2 ways in which we can make money. So we are just now jumping into the actual training, right? We are jumping into the actual training, right? So the first one that I want us to go through into is that the 2 ways in which you can make money. The first one is that you can learn from active investors, which is what we are doing. So high five to you. And out of that, you can go and do it yourself. You can go out there and do it yourself. There is many places in South Africa. There are many properties out there. The last record that I saw for property was around about 6 trillion rand that we have of properties out there, which means that even if one and every one of us is to go out there to do a transaction, one deal, there'll still be a whole lot of other deals that are available. The other way you can do it is that you can invest alongside other people, earning what is called passive income. So you can find people like me. There's plenty of other people out there that are doing it. Obviously, I'm going to advocate to say invest with me because you know that you know who you're investing with. And out of it, you know, that's how you get to earn passive income. So you're putting in some money down, and out of it, you get some passive income because you're not doing anything, no work on your side. And you get to get paid on a monthly basis. All right. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, let's just talk about it. We need to jump in to talk about the actual training. So the first things, remember I said there's seven steps, right? The first step that I would like us to talk about is that you need to invest in yourself. That's the first one. You know, if you're watching this from, I don't know, from a PC or from a phone, tablet, or whatever it is, you want to take some pictures as we go along, you know. But the first thing that I would like us to talk about within the 7 steps is that you have to invest in yourself. What do I mean by that? Pretty simple. When I started off, I actually didn't know out there that there are so many books. I used to read books from a fictional perspective, but I actually didn't know that there are so many people out there that are writing about how they are winning in business, how they are winning in certain avenues, in certain, like for instance, if we talk about property, the one guy that I read a lot about is a guy called Kenny McElroy. And he's one of these books that I read, which is called the ABCs of Real Estate Investing. Yes, it is very much American, but there's a lot of principles that we can apply from a South African perspective. So I started looking at myself and I was like, okay, I am potentially disabled in some areas, impaired in some areas, and there's things that I don't know. There are things that I don't know. How best can I start learning? And I started learning by actually reading books. And that's the first thing of investing in yourself. A lot of us will go and buy food. A lot of us will buy expensive clothing, expensive perfumes. That's part of investing in yourself, isn't it? Because you're looking good, you're smelling good. But if you're investing in yourself, if you're investing right here in your head, that investment can actually make sure that for the rest of your life, you are actually solid in terms of your income. And that's exactly what I did. You can take a picture. All of these books, they are available for you. Some of them, they're here in South Africa. But all of these books are books that you can kind of like reach out. And this is just a snapshot of the people that have gone out to actually say, well, let me share it with the people to say that if you're wanting to invest yourself, this is some of the other material that is there. You all know that I'm totally in love with Robert Kiyosaki's work. He's been here so many times. And I want to actually share something with you from effect of investing in yourself is that by nature, I've always seen myself as an introvert. I've always seen myself as an introvert. And it became very difficult for me to actually go out and source for business and network for people. But that book there on the top hand, where it says networking for people who hate networking. It's a book that I invested in myself, and out of it, I started learning how best to actually network with other people. And yes, I take myself out of the introvert, but when I am actually networking, in that time, I'm an introvert. And obviously, that book has helped me in terms of investing in myself and getting myself out of the space of being an introvert. Right. You want to become an active property investor. You want to become an active property investor. But I'm going to be talking about M5 Property Varsity. We are an online school, and for the fact that it is online, what do you get? You get the education, and you connect with active investors, people like me, and we are great advocates of saying that you need to start small. One property at a time. You get to 2 properties because you have learned from the 1 property, but this time around you're buying maybe 2 properties. And then the next time round, because you are learning fast and growing fast, you can now go be able to buy 7 at a time. What do I mean by that? You can now buy a 1 block of flat, but you started off in a 1 bed, 1 bath to understand the process. And this is what we are advocating for, to say, look, we all want to be millionaires. We all want to have the cash flow. We all want to leave our jobs that we don't want to be in, right? And spend time with our kids and family and travel the world. But it all starts from starting somewhere small. You have to start from somewhere small. And what is starting small? In the 1 bed, 1 bath. Well, I started off in a 2 bed, 1 bath back in the days. And if you read Robert Kiyosaki, he also tells you that he also started off in a 2 bed, 1 bath back in the 60s, right? The second thing that I would like us to cover, so we've just covered that the first step. First step is invest in yourself, right? Second part, the second step is you have to unlearn the stuff that you know, because a cup that is full can never be filled with anything new. I'm going to tell you a short story of this cat here. This is actually a proper cat that lives in our house. And it is Genevieve's cat. It's not mine. Because, you know, as you can see, you know, my background doesn't go very well with cats. The reality of it is that I grew up knowing cats that they're not pets. They're wild animals. And my wife at the time, when she wanted us to have a cat at the time, she was actually pregnant, highly pregnant with our second baby. And she was like, I would like to have a kid. I'm like, no. And then, you know, I was like telling him my mom is coming through. And then she was like, no, I have to have a kid. But what the cat really taught me is that I didn't know that cats were like pets like anywhere else. Because what I knew growing up was that cats are wild animals, right? Or cats are coming from witchcraft. That's what I know, you know. And if you can relate to me, just type in cat. Just type in cat if you can relate to what I'm saying. So obviously, by now having this cat in the house, whether it was a kitten or a grown-up cat, the same thing was, you know, in my space, because I was just conditioned from growing up that having a cat is either you're a witch, or, you know, a cat just needs to be in the wild. So I needed to unlearn that. Well, it's been a couple of years later. My second child now, she hits 6 years old, and so we've had the cat for 6 years. And guess what? I have never been on a broom. You know, I am for Jesus, and I've never been on a broom, and nothing has happened to me. The cat hasn't scratched me, and but it's still not my cat. It's Genevieve's cat, right? But I had to unlearn what I was conditioned growing up thinking to what the actual cat is. Now I appreciate a little bit of a cat. If I'm to compare a dog and a cat, you know, I would maybe favor a cat. Shh, but I didn't say that out loud. All right. Okay, good. let's talk about the 2-bed, 1-bath that I speak about, right? And this is where I said I started off. Now, before I started off in this particular 2-bed, 1-bath, I didn't think that these 2-bed, 1-bath like these ones were actually opportunities. I didn't think that, because what I knew of property was that, which was within my sphere all the time. I would be travel down the road, going to work, and all I would see is new developments coming up, and they would put a big sign that would say, developments, get 40,000 Rand, get a 40% discount when you buy here, no transfers. And all the time I would think that was a good opportunity. So my wife and I, we jumped in a few of those, right? But none of them actually ever cash flowed. What do I mean by cash flow? None of them gave us profit. That's what we mean by cash flow. So let me give you an example as I explain this. What is cash flow? We've gone on to buy a property within this case here. I'm going to talk about this property here. I saw this property actually on Property 24. I think it was on Property 24 that I saw it. And it was via a normal estate agent, right? We put in an offer on it of around about 160,000. It was available or being marketed for 390. And we put in a renovation cost of around about 50,000. So we were totally in 210,000, okay? And if you look at it, we had a rental income of 5,000. Now, I want to explain the concept of cash flowing, the concept of profit. Now, had we taken out a loan on the 220, it then basically means that we need to pay the bank, right? We need to pay the bank, the bond. The bond that we need to be paying off, that's the first thing. And then there's insurance that you need to pay. Then there is maybe levies that you need to pay. Then there is maintenance that you need to pay. All of those things, if we include them, they are all expenses. Then you subtract that from your monthly rental, and the difference, which is in positive, that's what we call cash flow. In this case, when I went out onto this particular deal, which was a 2-bed, 1-bath, actually, this is the only money that I put in this particular, actually in my entire life. I have never actually gone in and put in any money other than the 1,000 that I put in on this particular deal that you're looking at right now. And within this deal, what basically happened is I put in an offer and I put in 1,000 Rand of my own money, and the rest of the money came through from an investor. The rest of the money came through from an investor. And alongside that investor, we were then able actually to rent this property for 5,000. So we were cash flowing if you do the mathematics there. We later sold it for 450 at the end of the 1 year. At that time, I didn't understand a lot about holding properties. I didn't understand a lot about holding properties, because the more you hold on to a property, the longer it brings value onto your balance sheet. All right, and that's something that we are going to be talking about a little bit later. But this is a very small deal that you can learn how to do. This is a very small deal that if you're going to make a mistake, you are not going to fall back. On our YouTube, I put in a video actually on our YouTube on a couple of things that I learned on this particular deal. It taught me around about 11 things, I think it was. And you can go onto our YouTube when we're done, and you can have a look on some of the things that I got out of the learning on this deal. Number one, it gave me confidence that I could do it, right? And number two, I started smelling success, because obviously I was able to go through within this deal. The third thing, and that's the last thing that I'm going to share with you, is that I was able to actually see that properties in South Africa, where I am living, this deal here is in Kempton Park. Deals like these ones, you can make a business out of it, because now what was happening is that I was getting money in the bank, ding, every month. All right. So I realized that, hey, if I'm cash flowing around about 2,000 Rand on this particular property, let's assume that I'm getting paid 50,000 on my current job. it actually means that I have 24 other properties that I can get to if I am of the view that I want to leave my job, or I want to replace my income from my properties to replace my salary. Does it make sense? I think it makes sense. But hey, you need to start from somewhere. You need to start from somewhere. And on the varsity, we've got a course that is called a fundamental course. It's called a fundamentals for property for fundamentals. And this course here is available, and it's only available to members. So we spoke about being a member, right, in the varsity. And by the end of this training that we're going to be doing, I would like you actually to just walk away knowing two things: that you can have money in property. Number two, that you can do it yourself. And by doing it yourself, this is why I am selling to you these courses. So I'm not being apologetic around it. And I don't think that this is lots of monies. I think that $597 for your education to get started, to get bigger returns. Look at the returns behind here on how much I go through. You could be getting your returns times 1,000 on here, on this particular training that you'll be going through this. But we're going to go ahead on that. So we are on now number 3. Step number 3, right? We spoke about step number 1, invest in yourself. And step number 2 is what we have just finished off now. And now we are going into step number 3. You don't know what you don't know. Hey, TJ, what do you mean by that? Well, when I was employed, I used to work for ABSA Africa, and I used to travel all over the African countries. So I was situated here in South Africa, but I would work outside South Africa. So for like 3 weeks in a row, I would be out of the country. I used to work for ABSA Africa, and I used to love my job. But you know, the one thing that hit me one day was that someone said to me, it's great to be a young executive in the workplace. You get to travel business class, you get to travel into different countries, you see all these lovely things. But you know what? Your kids will never be able to inherit your job. And I was like, but hey, I can take a life policy, maybe they'll get some money out of it. But then I realized that, hold on, I have built so much intellectual within working for the bank. How can I build something similar or even bigger for myself, and my kids can inherit much bigger? And the idea is that anyone can do it. I am no different from you. Anyone can do it. But how? Remember, you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, that's a very dangerous position to be in, because you just don't know that you don't know. It's like not knowing that you're dumb. You know, everyone else is looking at you. They're like, this guy is dumb. And you're like, no, I'm good. I'm good. You don't know what you don't know. So I want to come back to you and say to you, hold on. Let's talk about what you don't know. Because by the time I went into this particular property that you're looking at, those pictures that you're seeing there on the top, that's how I sold that property. This is almost a year and a half, I think. We've owned now this property for about a year and a half. And basically what this property is, or was, it's in Boksburg, right? And if some of you are from Boksburg, you'll potentially pass through this property every day, and you don't know that I own it. That's okay. But if I look at this particular property, it was a warehouse back in the days. So it's right in the CBD. And out of it, I found it on property 24. Boom, again, property 24. The problem of, maybe some of you are already telling me that, you know what, TJ, I am spending time on property 24. You are, it's true. But the reason that you're not seeing what I see is because your eye is not trained. And that's why we've put in the training, the fundamental course, for you to get your eyes trained, for you to be seeing the opportunities. Because what used to happen back in the days is that when I would pass through properties like these ones, I was one of those people who would actually be saying, why are these guys not looking after their property? I would not find it in me, the zest in me, like, can I not go and ask who's the owner of this property? Can I not put in an offer? Like all of those things I wouldn't ask. But because now my eyes are trained and my mind is also trained in terms of checking out for opportunities, the guts in me tells me, hey, you can go and do it. And I go and do it. So even though I made this property on Property 24, it was with a normal estate agent, and there is no relationships that I had with this guy, nothing at all. I met him for the first time and I went through to see the place. I saw it within that maroon color, totally run down as a warehouse. Now, the reason why I have put this deal here in the section of you don't know what you don't know is that there is a certain way where you can buy properties using the seller to become the bank. Guess what? I was working for the bank and I didn't even know that you could utilize people who own houses for them to become the bank without having to go to the real bank. Yeah, you got that. I'm sure you did. Let's dissect it a little bit, okay? If it didn't make sense, let's dissect it a little bit. Okay. When you're walking through what is called a seller finance, so when someone is selling a property, that person is a seller, isn't it? So that person is a seller and I'm the buyer, all right? So if that person is a seller, it's called the seller finance, which means that that person becomes the bank. Why? Because you can do a contract that is called an installment sale. It's called, I'm going to say it again, it is called an installment sale, right? And as we're going along, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to pose your questions. You can pose your questions in the comments, and I'm not the only one on here. All of those answers, all of those questions, we can answer them as we are going along, and right at the end, we are going to be having questions, all right? But drop down all of your questions as we're going along. Let's come back to the deal. So this particular property here, rundown property as it was, it used to be a warehouse with offices at the back. And I went there and I looked at this property and I looked into the area, which is one important thing. You need to understand your area. What is this area? Is it a residential area? Is it a commercial area? What is it? You know, is it a lot of nurses that are here? Or is it a lot of teachers that are here? You know, what does the area tell you? If you're not able to see what the area is telling you, you can go into other reports. So something that I'd like you to take note of is that there is reports that are available with companies like TPN. So you can go to tpn.co.za. They give you reports about suburbs. And in those reports, you can pull a report that is called a investor's report. And with an investor report, it gives you a whole lot of things. And these are some of the things that you go through in the property fundamental course in terms of what is it that you're looking for in such kind of reports. Okay. Now, having seen this house, well, this property, it was actually on the market, right? It was on the market for 1.8 million. And we went there and we negotiated. Eventually, we got it for 700,000. We got it for 700,000. But because of the nature of the property, we told the seller that, look, I'm not able to give you the 700,000. Could we do the installment sale? And by the way, in installment sales, there is 3 things that you need to worry about in installment sale, right? The first one is that an installment sale comes through with a template, right? So it's got a guideline, it's got a framework, right? And good lawyers, they understand what an installment sale is. So don't go to a family lawyer, don't go to some of these lawyers. Go to a commercial property lawyer who understands law. And what you have on an installment sale is that there's 3 things that you need to worry about. The guideline of an installment sale stipulates one of the 3 things that I really like about installment sale, which is in favor of me as an investor, is the first one is, it stipulates that you need to be buying the property in a period of 1 to 5 years. That's an installment sale, but it doesn't dictate that it has to be 5 years. It's giving you guidelines, right? So on our property for this one here, we put in, I think it was 16 months. We said we were going to buy the property over a period of 16 months. The second one is that an installment sale, it needs to be 3 payments and above. 3 payments and above. So it's a guideline again. It doesn't say it has to be 3 payments. It doesn't say it has to be monthly payments. It doesn't say it has to be weekly payments. No, it doesn't. It gives a guideline to say it has to be 3 payments plus. So guess what we did? We told the owner that we were going to give him 3 payments, which is the minimum requirement. What was those payments? On the 700,000, we gave him 50,000 as the first payment. That was our deposit. And we said somewhere along the line, we're going to give you a 5,000. And at the end of the term, we're going to give you the rest of the money. At the end of the term, which is 16 months, all right? And which was actually 13 months, my mistake. And we went in, we paid in the 50,000 deposit, and immediately we moved in. When we moved in, we started renovating this place, and the renovation actually took us a whole 5 months to finish off. But somewhere along the line, within this 5 months, we started actually getting rent money. We started getting rent money, and our rent collections was, we can just safely say 40,000. Let's just say 40,000. So we're collecting rent now on 40,000. We've only put in 50,000. We've only put in an additional 400,000 for renovation, and there we are. We still have another 11 months to conclude the deal. Remember, a contract is a contract. It's an installment sale. That's the beauty about an installment sale. I haven't gone to the bank at this time. Okay? The seller is the financer. Does that make sense? I hope it's making sense. But as we went on, I think it was on month number 9 or so, we actually went to a proper bank. And we went to a bank which is in our local area, and we said to the bank, Mr. Bank, can you finance this property for us, because we would like to get the seller out of the way. On this deal, the bank actually gave us a whopping 1.5 million. Right. Remember, I bought this property for 700. So we were able to sell, we were able to settle the seller for 700,000. How much are we left with there? You following? Okay. Then we had a 400,000 that we had put in the property for renovation. Again, we gave that back again. So the 700 plus the 400,000, so you kind of like in for how much? That's for 1.1. But the bank is giving you 1.5. So what are you going to do? It looks like the bank is giving you more. Yes, it's called refinancing. It is the pleasures of refinancing. So TJ, what did you do with the 400,000? I took it. I hit a bit of a chop and dop. Nah, I'm just kidding. Oh, for sure, we did a chop and dop a little bit. But we took that money and we went onto our next project. So we're now financing our next project. Ah, TJ, but how did that work? Well, if you didn't get it, wait for the replay for tomorrow. All right. But this is something also that I've had to actually explain this, and I've put this as a short course that you can do, that anyone else can actually do, and you can go out to as many properties out there, and you can do what is called the seller finance. All right. We can do what is called the seller finance. So seller finance course is available. It is available for members only for 497. And if you want to do it, potentially you have done the fundamental course and you are thinking, I think this fair seller finance will work out. It will work out for a person who has no money. It will work out for a person who is blacklisted. It will work out for a person who is old, young, black, white, Indian, colored. It doesn't discriminate, the seller finance. For as long as you can negotiate with your seller, you can draw up this contract. Your lawyer can draw up this contract. And by the way, if you are in the varsity as well and you don't have a lawyer, anyone else that works with me directly, they are available to work with you as well. So all of these guys that have made me to become Investor of the Year, they are at your disposal. Oh, yeah, you're reading right. You are reading right. It is true that some of us are in that space. I read this book from he's now a dear friend of mine because I follow him and we talk quite a lot now. And I've had to consume a lot of his stuff. But this was the book, by the way, we're at step number 4. This was the book that made me to do stuff, that made me to do epic stuff. The book is called Unfudge Yourself. The subtitle of it is that get out of your head and get out of your head and into your life. So start doing stuff. That's what this book is all about. When I started reading this book, I was one of those people, I'm like, well, you know, life is difficult. Well, you know, I work 16 hours. Well, you know, I had all sorts of excuses. Well, I can't do this because I'm working from outside South Africa. Well, I can't do this. And I had all these excuses, but all of these excuses were not helping me. Then I met up with this book. This is an easy book. You can read it. It's like a 6-hour book. I think you can read it. It's not that expensive. Invest in yourself in this book and find yourself. Where are you first? Right? If you see where you are first, because we are all, even me, I'm still first right now at where I am. So the point is that once you realize where you are, there's a couple of things that I'd like you to do. The first thing is that I want you to honor where you are. Where you are is where you are, and that's okay. But don't let yourself be there. Don't let yourself settle there because you're settling for too small. When I started working out with our first tenant on that 2-bed, 1-bath, I kicked myself in the bum. Why? Because I realized that I can earn money very easily. All I need to do is to find the property. From finding the property, I needed to now providing a home to someone. And when I'm providing a home to someone, I realized that some people are actually slum landlords. But I'm a good guy. I provide a good product. Why didn't I do this much earlier? And I realized that for a long time, I was totally fudged. Now, there are so many people out there that we know, right? There are so many people out there that we know. Legends. But I want to talk about the legend who lives in their head. The legend who is giving themselves excuses. The legend who has all these stories that when we hear about their business plans on the braai, we think that we're going to see a Maserati when we go outside. I am talking about that person there that is always giving ideas to other people about businesses. I am talking about, I hope it's not you. The point is that if any of these guys that you're seeing here, Muhammad Ali, Maya, Kim, if any of these guys didn't go out, right, and start doing and start putting action, I don't know what world we could have been living now. Nelson Mandela, myself and Nelson, we share a birthday. I just had to put him there, you know, because we share a birthday together, you know. But it's not about that. Imagine a world where Nelson had kind of like just lived in his head and not chased for freedom, not chased for fighting, not chased for standing for what was right, what our current world will be looking like. Imagine a world like that. So if that is the case, why then would I want to just think about stuff in my head and not put action? That's the question that I want to ask you. If it is property, you're thinking about it. So why don't you do it? Why don't you spend that money? I looked at 297. What can you buy with 297? On a monthly basis, what can you buy? Doesn't even get you DSTV. Yeah. But this 297 can set you for the rest of your life, that for the rest of your life you'll have DSTV. I did say that too, right? But let's look at it from another perspective. Okay, fine. Maybe you've gone in on that 297, you're learning, but you're like saying, TJ, I still can't do this. And you've got some money. Well, it's okay too to be in that space, because that's where you can actually partner up with other people, because we are all different, okay? Now I want to give you an example. And this example is directly linked on the basis of people that put action. So this deal here, we got it around about last year, winter. And it concluded just before the holidays. And we decided that it was going to go into the student accommodation. As you might know, I am Johannesburg based, right? And if you didn't know, now you know. But this deal here, we did it in Cape Town. When we did it in Cape Town, I've got a partner called Reta, and she is on the line, and she's potentially defending some of the questions that are coming through. And for the whole season of the Christmas season last year, we dove into student accommodation. We said we want to do it, and she was leading the renovations of this project. She was leading everything that was happening. But guess what? This project, the timeline kind of like encroached all the way into Christmas. But we knew very well from around about the 10th of January, there is going to be tenants that are going to be coming in who are students. And we needed the place to be ready. And she sacrificed her time with her family for once in whatever period that we can take. And she sacrificed her time, and she went on, she executed what needed to be executed. And by around about the 15th of December or so, these are two properties that we have. We have 43 students on here. They were full to capacity, right? And up until now, even during COVID, these two places have always been full. Well, you could be asking the question, so TJ, what are these two properties? It is two properties that we found in an area. Someone said that they are dialing in from Bellevue. This property actually is in Bellevue, and they are next to each other. We bought the one property for 1.2, the other one for 1.5, and we spent around about 750,000. And we've got around about 43 students in those two properties that are like linked together. Per bed, we're banking around about 3,000 per bed, right? You do the maths. You do the maths on 33 students, and you tell me how much we are collecting on a monthly basis there. Now, I want to stress the fact, because I can see a lot of you now are calculating and like, yeah, I want to go into student accommodation. Hold your horse. Oh, don't go there. If you have never managed a property, if you have never bought one property, don't go on student accommodation. I am saying it from the bottom of my heart because I don't want you to be burnt out. Like I said, start small, learn fast, grow fast. Yeah. And what I would recommend you do, you start small, yes. Once you learn the ropes, then you can jump into student accommodation. Because student accommodation can run you down. You can lose your mojo right there with student accommodation. Now, we have put in a course for student accommodation, right? If this is your thing, so let's assume you've got 3-4 projects that you have done, and you're showing in a little bit of muscle, and now you think that you can go into student accommodation. I urge you, do not do this as your first project. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and I don't want you to throw in your towel when there is still a lot to be done. So you can go through into the student accommodation course, and you can do it, and provided, my biggest requirement is that you need to have done something before, whether it's a 2-bed 1-bath, whether it's a house, whether it's something else. But that's my recommendation, because I mean it, I see it, I talk my partner all the time around some of the issues that she's having, and that's why I am saying what I'm saying from the love, from the bottom of my money heart. Yeah, I did say that. Okay, good. I am going to stop screen sharing, and I'm just gonna, we're around about number 4, number 5. I'm going to stop screen sharing. And what I'm going to do is that I am talking a lot about this varsity, right? And what I want to do is I want to go and show you exactly what the varsity looks like. You know, you could be saying, hey, TJ, what does it look like? And let me give you a moment actually to go through and see what the varsity looks like. So I am going to give you a snippet of what the varsities look like. But if you are here and you're already a member in M5 Property Varsity, maybe show us or tell us drop us a comment there on what are some of the things that you have seen, that you are enjoying in there so far. But I'm just gonna quickly go there now. So this is the whole community, right? So you get, for as long as you're subscribing, it's like DSTV, huh? For as long as you are paying, you get access to watch DSTV. It's like Netflix. For as long as you're paying, you get to see a whole lot of movies, right? And basically what it is that you pay your monthly subscription, which is $2.97, and boom, you will get your access, your credentials, you know, password, and you can go through and see it. What you will see when you log in for the first time, this is your landing page. So that's your landing page, and you click on where it says M5 Community, right? And you will end up here, and this is where you will see all of the free content of the $2.97 that you're paying for. So once a month, we do what is called a group coaching. You can see it here. I am trusting that I am screen sharing. Yes, I am, right? Okay, good. Can you see it all? I think so. Yes, I'm screen sharing nicely, right? So it is group coaching. Once a month, we do have what is called group coaching. I think it is on the 3rd of every Thursday, but stay tuned in on our page. You'll be able to see when it is and when it comes through. This is all a whole lot of property lessons that we have recorded, and anyone can actually go in, click in there. There's a whole lot of videos that you can see. We'll come back to it just now. And here we've got productivity tools. So what are productivity tools? Well, we've been in the game for a little bit. We understand there's tools like accounting tools that you can easily use from starting off. We understand that, you know, for you to make adverts, there's certain tools that you can use for free to get the right people for advertising. And on here where it says Real Talk Deals, here I spend time with other like-minded people looking at proper deals, real deals, right? These are real deals happening in South Africa, and there's lots of people there that I then interview, and we interrogate. We do what is called a deep dive into a deal. Why did they buy that deal? How are they making money out of that deal? So if there's a particular strategy that you are looking for, definitely within that space, that's what you can look out for. So in the real deals, you get to learn from other people's mistakes. And these are like people that are living here in South Africa, so they're not like from overseas. They're here. Once in a while, we have conferences, and we charge for conferences, and people come in, but we do all the recordings, and the content stays here. I think in the last quarter, we had a conference that's called Property Rise Up Conference. And again, this is like good folks that are here in South Africa. And at the bottom here, we have got what is called the professional team. And the professional team is everyone else, everyone that is working with me, from lawyers to builders to architects, you name it, town planners, and you can come through in here. So you've got access to all of these guys, really. You can come through. And all of these courses that I've been talking about, seller finance, student accommodation, on your right-hand side here, it says members only store. So you'll be able to click there, and it will take you to the store. In the store, this is where you are able to actually pay for your additional courses that you're looking for. So the seller finance that we spoke about, the student accommodation that we spoke about, the first thing that you need to be doing, the property investing fundamentals, there you are, right? And then from time to time, we have what is called group coaching. So the last one that we had was on the 25th of June. There's another one that's coming up. I think our tech team needs to be changing that. But again, 157 for group coaching. If you have come through for group coaching on the last one, tell us how it was in the comments. Tell us how you found it. You can also have one-on-one time. You can have one-on-one time mentorship with me, with Retha. There's like, I think there's about 8 of us who are mentors, and you can pick and choose who your mentor is, and you only get to pay $997 when you have a deal, when you want to ask something, or you want to really set the journey of your starting off and you want to end off somewhere. So your mentor works with you for you to be able to get there. And by the way, if you're one of those people, started off in the same space where I started off, I had no money. I had to look for creative way to find money. I've done a course that is called Finding Private Money for Your Deals. And this is what helped me to where I am today. Because like I said, I've never put in any money other than my 1,000 Rand. So where did I get the money to be building up the business that I've built today? Definitely it was all private money. And how do we get that? Okay, cool. So this is everything around the actual varsity. Everything is online. For as long as you're a member, you will get a 90% discount on the specialized content. But let's jump in here. Let's go to property lessons, right? So there's a whole lot of videos in there. And all of these videos, they are all learning videos. You can literally go through there for days, right? This is a student accommodation. You can see some people are giving comments and things like that, right? Should I buy a property cash or not? You know, these are all the things there that you can learn from there. All right, right. Okay, good stuff. I am going to end it there for now so that I can go back to the actual steps. You remember, we still have the 7 steps that we need to get to. And let's go through to the presentation. But I just want to check in. How we all doing? How we all doing? I can see that there have been some chats there going on. Some questions there. I see Rita is defending all of them. And I also see Elise. Elise, who is our lawyer. And she is here. I'm sure she'll be able to defend. Maybe ask some technical questions, difficult questions for Elise from a lawyer perspective. Good to see you here, Elise. Right. I'm going to go back to the presentation so that we can jump in onto the presentation and conclude it. Right. Right. So I'm sure that was a good show and tell. If you've got some questions on the show and tell around the varsity, drop in that question there, and we'll be able to get that to you. All right. Okay. I'm going to say this from a good place. I'm going to say this from a good place. And I'm just going to apologize up front, just in case I offend you. Actually, maybe I should have said it right at the beginning, that maybe I might offend you. Not a lot of us come from rich families. Not a lot of us do. Well, I certainly didn't, right? I actually didn't know my father until around about I was 30. So the guy was gone long time ago. I write about that in my book, From Bad Debt to Property Mogul in 2 years. That's my background, right? But I am making sure that the rich family is going to come from me through property. That's my goal, right? So if you're not going to do it for yourself, at least do it for your family. Because your family, everything that is happening right now in the world, property creates passive income for you. People who have had properties for years, actually, let me say this. If you have to go into the Forbes list, you will see that most of the people that have become rich, they are rich in 2 to 3 ways. The most significant 2 ways that come up is technology and property. Technology and property. So, I don't know, are you in technology? If you're not in technology, then property is your chance, right? Property gives you that. What happens in property, what we don't realize is that you can earn income in a number of ways in property. You can earn money by cash flow, which is the monthly income that comes in. So which means that your family today, in today's world, you can put bread and butter on the table. That's the first thing. The second thing is that property gives you what is called appreciation. You, without doing anything at all, right? Without doing anything at all, property appreciates. It gains value. Year in, year out, year in, year out. Go and do the maths. I mean, go and check out the figures for yourselves. How much is property gaining value? You can actually look at your own property maybe that you're staying in. If you're renting, well, the property that you're renting. 4 or 5 years ago, the rent wasn't the same. 4 or 5 years ago, the prices were not the same. So which means that the value is increasing. So guess what? I got a 5-year-old and a 12-year-old, right? Now, both of them, by the time they kind of like hit 20 on all these properties that I'm buying, what do you think is going to happen? So if you're not going to do it for you because you don't love it, but at least do it for your family. The number one thing, or should I say some of the things that I've now started realizing within the property space is that property has actually allowed me to have a different lifestyle, right? We never used to travel quite a lot. We didn't. But with property, it has allowed me. We get to go on holidays. We go to see places that we used to see in magazines. We see on TV. But we get to enjoy that now. We go and see them. We go and create memories as a family. And this is just one of 2 snippets of pictures that I just took from my Facebook in the recent times. Actually, during COVID now, some of the videos that we've been taking whilst we were on some of these holidays have been some of our fascination points. Because in some pictures, my little daughter was around about 3, 4. She was 2. And, you know, we started looking at some of those videos like, look, this is where you are. And she's like, what is that? I'm like, that's an elephant. She says, nah. And I'm like, yeah, I used to call it a dog before, you know? And we're creating memories for our life, for our lives and our family. And this is what property can give you. Okay. Number 6, I want to stress the fact that it's not just about buying 2 beds. It's not just about creating, buying a building. It's not just about turning it around. It's not just about having money in the bank account. There's a little bit more. There is more out there that you can do. If you're sitting in the space where you're sitting and you're thinking that you can't do it, you need to go through into the fundamentals. You need to become a member, see what other people are doing. By you rubbing shoulders with all those people, reading, seeing, listening, it will get your zest to go on, to get your guts to move on, right? This information, some of it that I'm telling you right now, it just gets your feet wet. But for you to dive in, there is more that you and I can do. What is that more? For me, I actually never, if around about 5, 6 years ago, you could have told me that I would have a business, I would be like, yeah, right. Because I was just a normal employee. I was just a normal employee traveling through the country, doing what I love to do at my job. But right now, I work in a solid team with people that have got my back and with people that have interest in what I am doing. And all of these people that you're seeing here are my business partners. We've been covered in so many media. We've won awards. Last year alone, we had 2 awards in our team, recognized by the industry for doing cool things, right? And none of this could have ever happened had I stayed in the position of feeling pity for myself, or thinking that, no, I'm in debt, or thinking that, you know what, it's properties for those that are rich, or thinking whatever that I was thinking of. I'm here to tell you that go and read the book and find yourself. If you read that book, you need to come through back here and you need to register, and you can start changing your life. Mine have been changed. Never thought I could be on radio. I still get goosebumps when they invite me to radios. I love it, by the way. Yeah. Now, we've been entrusted actually worldwide. We can safely say actually worldwide, because we have had investors from in Africa and overseas. And we've now built a business. Collectively, with all these champions here, we have all built a business. All of these guys here, they play different roles in the business based on their skill, based on what they love, right? And together, this is what we've built. 200 tenants across in 4 cities, 350 students. But it all started off, this is where I want to stress off from. It started off from the fundamental course, understanding the basics. TJ, you know what? You're just being greedy. You want all the big buildings for yourself. No. What I'm saying here is get to understand the fundamentals. Get to understand the process of just buying a property. Get to understand the fundamentals of just managing one tenant before you go on to manage 30 of them. It can become messy. I am telling you right now. But with the right team on your side and knowing the fundamentals and growing from 1 property to 5 properties to 10 properties to 20 properties, you gain your muscles, your confidence, and you'll be able to do whatever you want. Property allows you to do that. Now, how do you get started? This is step number 7. And step number 7 is getting started. You gotta get started, right? You have to get started. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. Your family is dependent on you to change the course of history. Well, the future, not the history. To change the course of the future starting from now so that it can be written differently. How do you start? Get the practical knowledge. This is what we do in M5 Property Varsity, right? You apply the knowledge that you're learning alongside us, other active investors. We're doing it here in South Africa. So we're able to show you the ropes. We're able to show you where the pitfalls are because we're both here. And together we can grow your legacy whilst we are building ours as well. I'm not finished. I told you that there are 2 ways to make property. There are 2 ways to make money. The first one is that you can do it yourself. And the second one is that you can invest with others, right? So how do you invest with others? Well, at M5 Property Addicts, you can become a passive income investor. We will find the property, we buy it. You invest a minimum of 100,000. We collect the rent on those properties and you get paid. You do nothing but getting paid. Because you could be saying to me, TJ, you know what? I've got a demanding job, but I've got 400,000. Bring it on. We'll put it to work. Right now, I've got projects that we can offer you 14%, 14%, right? Right now, at all the banks, there is nobody offering a double figure. Nobody. Nobody, right? So why do you want to keep your money at the bank dying? Seriously, why do you want your money to be dying? Some of you have got monies. So someone called me the other day. They said to me, you know what, TJ? So how safe is my money? And I said, okay, so where's your money right now? And they told me about some investment company, the traditional ones that we know. And I said, so where's your money? Where's your money invested? You see, they don't know. With us, you get to know where your money is. Because on the contracts, we tell you where your money is. It is projects that you can safely go see, touch, hug, feel. You can see it right there. But besides that, on a serious note, there are contracts that are available, and Elise, she dives into these contracts, make sure that you are protected and we are protected, and your money is covered. And we're there for the business. We've been at it for the last 4 years. We're in it for the business. We've got some cool projects hanging around. So If you're one of those people that are wanting to invest, you've got some cash, you need to speak to us. Tomorrow you're going to be getting some emails coming through from us, a replay actually of this. And if you've got anything of 100,000 and above, I want to speak to you so that we can put your money to work. I don't want your money to be dying at the bank, because that's just bad. It makes me feel sad that your money is dying in the bank. That's what it is doing. Because right now, check the inflation. Where's the inflation right now? And check the whatever interest that you're getting. So that's why I'm saying that you don't want your money in the bank. Put your money at work, and let's put it to work so that it can give some good returns for you. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do is invest the money. Become a passive investor. Okay, cool. I'm wrapping up now. I think it's been a good session so far. You can give me some of those comments, and I'm going to jump on them right now. But some homework that I would like to cover with you. Homework, right? So write this down. Some homework that we want to do. If you've never invested in property before, this is your homework for you. If you have ever invested in one or two, again, this is some homework for you. So guess what? This homework is for everybody. Yeah. Okay, cool. Number one, I want you to go and read a book. If you don't know which book, go back to when I said these are some of the books, right? If you're totally lost on which book you need to be reading, okay, I want you to find a book. There's book number one here, okay, that you can go and read. I like this guy. Anything that he writes, I think it's power, all right? Look, go and read a book about real estate. Get your juices going. Number two, go to my YouTube. We've got a YouTube that's called, we've got a YouTube channel that's called the M5 Property Addicts. Watch at least a minimum of 5 videos. First thing that you need to do is subscribe. Subscribe first. Watch a minimum of 5 videos. On there, then we're going to be having a group coaching soon. And I want you to come back with all the questions from those 2 things that you've done: reading a book and watching 5 videos. The third thing that I want to do, I want you to go and do, check your credit score. Go and check your credit score. You can do this for free. You can do it on TransUnion, Experian. You get to pay for it, or you get to have like 1 year. You've never done it. If you've never done it, you get a 1 year free report, and you see where your credit score is, right? If it's bad, it's good. What do you mean, TJ? At least you know where your credit score is, right? If it's bad, it's good. We've got a starting point, and on your report, it will actually start telling you what are some of the things that you need to do. Hey, I was in debt of 5 million. So I understand what it means to be in debt. All right. So that's the first thing. That's the third thing that you need to do. Check your credit score. Where do you stand? Now, if you don't have a bond originator, reach out to us in the varsity. We will put a bond originator there. Confirm affordability. Confirm your affordability. How much do you qualify for? Some of you qualify for 2 million, 5 million already. You've never utilized that. Number 5, decide if you want to become active or passive investor. Okay, you need to decide that, because the benefits are kind of like the same, right? So decide that. But the other thing that I want you to decide on is there are so many windows to get to the financial freedom heaven. I'm going to repeat that. There are so many windows to get to the financial freedom heaven, right? We all want to go to heaven, right? But which window is for you? For me and all my team members, we have chosen property, but there are others as well. But others are very volatile. So just double check. But the question that I want to ask of you is that you need to decide if property is for you. The last one that I want to then talk about is that property is not a one-man band. It's a family affair. You're building a legacy here. There's a long-term stuff that we are building. So discuss with your family. Get them involved, right? So the first thing that I want you to do, get your family involved, start talking about it. All my kids, they already know. Daddy's bought a building. Daddy's got tenants, right? Because this is what we do. But I'm going to end it here for now, and I'm going to open up for questions, and it's been great. Thank you very much for sticking it all out to the end. And I think I've got 5 prizes to give away. Who are the 5 people that we are going to give the 5 prizes to? And by the way, go to our YouTube and then subscribe from there. M5 Property Addicts, we're going to send you a note around that. And I am going to stop the screen sharing here. And what I want us to go and do is to go into some of the charts of the comments, and what are some of those comments that is coming through, right? Rita, I am going to put you on, not on the chat actually, but I can hear you now. And what are some of the questions that have been coming up, maybe that we can quickly talk about before we close? Rita?
Okay, so I think there were some questions about the for investors, for the passive investors. How do you calculate your returns, and when will people start getting their first monies?
Awesome. Right, let's give an example. Today is, what is the date today, right?
9th of July.
The 9th of July. Right, you're interested in investing alongside us. You've got your 100,000. We will say, Elise will send out the contract to you 9th of July. Once that money comes through to us by the 20th of July, we will say 100,000. That's how much you're going to be investing. And out of it, we will say you're going to get 14%. So 14% is per annum, right? So you get 14%, so that means 14,000 Rand. Out of the 14,000 Rand, we will then distribute that per month. So which means that we'll divide that 14,000 Rand in by 12. And that's what will be get paid to you on the 10th of each month. The next batch of payment will go out on the 10th of August, if that money comes through to us before the 20th of July. Make sense? Cool.
And then people were also asking around the membership and the courses. So the membership is monthly, 297.
Right.
And then the courses is an additional 597. Remember, that is actually, we actually sell it normally for 5,997. So as a member, because you are a member, you're actually getting it at 90% off. So that was one of the other questions that was on, yeah?
Okay.
Sorry, I answered it for you.
Yeah. Wasn't there a question for Elise? I mean, Elise is on the bench here. I mean, they should have asked a hard question to Elise.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about the questions that's been coming up a lot. I think the rest of it I've answered on the chat.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah. So what's the next step here? The next step is that thank you for registering and thank you for being here. We are trusting that you have learned how to get started. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that for you to actually get started now into getting your feet wet to get some money out of it, there's 2 ways that you can invest alongside us, or you can start doing it for yourself, and you can start learning, right? So the link for you to subscribe will come out to you. That's the first thing. That's number 1. And then you can then subscribe. And then by subscribing, I think our next interaction will be in the group coaching. And that's where we'll see a lot of you. But in between, what you can actually do is that you can start immersing yourself, right? Baptize yourself in all of the courses that are there, right? So once you pay for a course, that course becomes available to you, right? You can watch it all. You can binge watching, you know, like some of us, we like binge watching the whole day, you're just watching it. But we promote to say that watch, apply, watch, apply. That's what we promote so that you can get the tools of what it's talking about. But not to worry, even if you binge watching, it basically means that you can actually come back to it because you're still subscribed, right? So that's something good there. Then our next event is the group coaching coming out is the month end. Is that so, Rita?
Yes, that's right. So the group coaching will come out. It's actually going to be on the 30th of July. So over this weekend, I'm going to put the invite and everything up and update all the technical stuff. The guys will update it over the weekend. Yeah. And then people can start preparing for that. So if they've done their homework and they get stuck and they have any questions, they can definitely bring it to that session, and we can answer it on a one-on-one basis with everybody. We had a really good session last month, and the guys actually learned a lot from each other's experience, which was really awesome.
And that's the idea of group coaching, is that we learn from each other's experiences because we're all in different towns, approaching different strategies. So obviously, if you were trying a different strategy and someone else is doing it with them asking certain questions, you can start relating, or you can start saying, this is not for me. And that's the whole idea of group coaching. Yeah.
TJ, right. There's a couple of other questions that came in. Do we have time for a couple more?
Yeah, for Elise, yes.
And one for you.
Okay.
Loretta is asking, can the interest be reinvested? So if she's not taking any profits for the year?
Right. So at the moment, our systems are not geared for that. But basically, for the whole year, we will have a discussion by the end of the year. So obviously, you know, your interest will be due at that particular time. And if you want, then yes, we can then reinvest it into the second year. But in terms of this particular 1 year, your interest is stuck on 14% for the year.
All right, and then let me just see. There was another question: is the 14% depending on the deal or standard?
So all of our return on investment is depending on deals, and in the past we have had some deals that have been on 15%, 17%, 20%. It just depends on the deals that are available at that particular time. Yes.
All right. Can we be 5 people that contribute collectively for the 100,000, or even 4 people that can be administration? I think she's asking, can there be multiple people that contribute to get the 100,000?
100%. So we have had to work with individuals like that from a family perspective, or friends that are just coming together. Actually, last Saturday, we had a group of 6 ladies, 3 of them in the UK, 5 are here, and they're all contributing monies. And for as long as we have one point of contact, and who's sort of like the administrator or the signatory, the person that we speak to, who represents the group, yes, we can work it that way.
Okay, I'm going to quickly just go through all the I'm trying to group all the questions together because there's a lot of questions that came in now.
Okay.
And I will give one to Elise. It's coming in here. Let me just see. There's somebody that says, I'm interested in investing with my credit score. How long does it take?
Right. So that option for the credit score, you have to be, I think we were saying that it has to be plus minus 2 million that you need to qualify for. So drop us an email and we can take it from there depending on what your credit score is. But we've got some projects that are coming through where we can utilize your credit score.
All right. And I think the last one I'm going to take around investment, and then we're going to move on to another topic, is, do I, as an investor, have a say on which deal I want to invest in, looking as the fact that the return is based on the deal? And shares.
Okay, so those are two separate questions.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Lerato, you sneaked in there.
Yeah. So the first question is, yes, you do. So if we send you a deal and a particular project, you still have your money, right? So you can decline, accept whatever proposal or the deal that is there on the contract. And you can hold on to your money, and when the next project comes in, and then you can jump in. That's the first one. The second one, I think they were wanting to talk about shares.
Yeah.
Right? So we used to have that option for shares, but we don't have that option available still. However, with our partners at Sakisizwe Property Stokvel, we are cooking something together there where people can contribute and they'll get ownership. Yeah, if you're interested, again, drop us an email and we will put you on the list of such kind of an initiatives. I'm not so sure how much people will contribute at this time. So it can be anything from 2,500 all the way maybe to around about 20,000 or so. But it's something that's still being cooked. So we will know exactly when the legalities is finished. That's number one. And when the deal is available.
Okay, cool. I don't see Elise on the line anymore. I think she had to drop off. But there was a question around structures. What is the best structure for investment? So there were two people also that asked about that. Let me give you the exact question.
Okay.
What company structure is right for property? That was basically the question that came up.
Okay. Because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not going to attempt to give you an advice, but I am going to give you what we utilize, right? The structure that we have decided to use. And Rita, you can jump in maybe if I miss out something in terms of why we've done.
Yeah, I think structures is also, it's better to just kind of tell you what we use and why we did it. But it's very personal to every situation and your personal finances and your goals and why you're buying the properties and, your tax bracket and all of that stuff. So, it's not, unfortunately, it's not a one size fits all. And if you guys have seen the what we're doing on the Facebook group, I don't know if you guys saw there, we've started like a journey where every month we're tackling one topic, because property is so huge that you really need to give attention to each one of the steps, right? So this month it's all about starting to invest in property. And then next month is about your strategy. So we're going to talk about strategies for Airbnb, for student accommodation, for flipping. What are all those different strategies? Why would you do them? How do they work? What's the best one for you? Then we're going to look at the area, right? We're going to deep dive into all the areas, analyzing with you what areas work for what. Then we're going to go to properties. And eventually, so I'm not going to explain all of them, but distressed properties, distressed sellers, where do you find them? How do you negotiate them? So all of that is basically 10 topics like that we're going through. And throughout this process, one of them is also about structures, right? Where we're going to dedicate a whole month just to that topic. So it's very difficult in a session like this to kind of just give you a one-size-fits-all answer, because the topic is just too big to do that. Obviously going to share with you what we do, but I would suggest that if you can't wait for that topic to happen 3 months or whatever from now, to set up a session with Elise, and she can look at your personal situation and what you're trying to achieve, and she can actually help you to implement it. whatever you will then fit your situation. And you can.
Cool. It looks like we have lost Rita there. But yeah, so that's the gist of it, that, you know, we can schedule a session with Elise and she'll be able to walk you through that process. All right. But I am trusting that this has been of good value to you. I think, let me just take in one last question. I am going to go through to my questions here, and I am going to take one last questions. Allow me to go there. Lucky says, so the 100K investment is for how long, right? Is there a time frame after which you can withdraw the capital? Yes, sir. So Lucky, yes, there is. You can withdraw the money after a year, and yeah, so you can literally, the money is locked in with us for a year. It's a 1-year contract, and you can withdraw that money after 1 year, and that's when. Lerato says, very fruitful indeed. Good. And then Lucky as well, this is a different Lucky, says, subscriptions, can we do it as a stock, Phil? I think, or do every member must subscribe individually? So Lucky, I think maybe reach out to us directly. Maybe we can try to do something for you there as a stock fill, depending on how many people are in your stock fill. But I think we could be able to accommodate something for you there. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. If you are in a stock fill or one way or the other, please reach out to us. The email will come through to you by tomorrow, and drop us an email around the name of your stock fill, how long have you been around, and how many people are in your stock fill, and how would you like us to help you, right? How would you like us to help you? And then we can dive in directly into that. But for me, it has been great. God bless, and we will see you again on the group coaching. Good luck and goodbye. Don't forget the homework, ne? All right, cheers, bye.